In a quiet suburban neighborhood, a routine police stop spirals into a dangerous confrontation when officers target the family of Marcus Hayes, a black man they assume is just another civilian. Unbeknownst to them, Marcus is a decorated Delta Force commander, trained to protect his own with lethal precision, and he's not about to let his family be threatened. Marcus Hayes had always been a man of discipline, a trait forged in the crucible of high-stakes missions across deserts, jungles, and war-torn cities. At 42, he carried himself with the quiet confidence of someone who had seen the worst of humanity and emerged unbroken. His skin, a deep brown, bore the faint scars of battles fought in shadows, where medals were never pinned but lives were saved. To his neighbors in the small Virginia town of Willow Creek, he was just Marcus, a family man who coached Little League, mowed his lawn on Saturdays, and kissed his wife, Lauren, on the porch every evening. To the Pentagon, he was Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Hayes, one of the most elite operatives in Delta Force, a ghost who moved through the world's darkest corners and returned home to a life of PDA meetings and barbecues. It was a warm September evening when the trouble began. Marcus was overseas, leading a classified operation in a region he couldn't disclose, even to Lauren, his wife. A pediatric nurse with a warm smile and unshakable resolve was at home with their 2 children. 16-year-old Jaden, a lanky basketball prodigy with dreams of the NBA, and 10-year-old Amara, whose love for books rivaled her father's tactical acumen. The family lived in a 2-story colonial on a tree-lined street, the kind of place where kids rode bikes until dusk and neighbors waved from their porches. It was a life Marcus had fought for, the normalcy he cherished after years of chaos. That evening, Lauren was in the kitchen, stirring a pot of chili while Jaden sprawled on the couch, scrolling through his phone. Amara sat at the dining table, her nose buried in a novel about space explorers. The doorbell rang, sharp and unexpected, cutting to the hum of domestic life. Lauren wiped her hands on a dish towel and glanced at the clock. 7:43 p.m. too late for a neighbor dropping by unannounced. She opened the door to find 2 police officers standing on her porch, their faces stern under the glow of the porch light. "Evening, ma'am," said the older officer, a stocky man with a graying mustache. His badge read, Officer Callahan. His partner, younger, with a buzz cut and a hand resting on his holster, stood a step behind. "We're responding to a report of suspicious activity in the area. Mind if we ask you a few questions?" Lauren's brow furrowed. Suspicious activity wasn't a phrase you heard often in Willow Creek. "What kind of activity?" she asked, her tone calm but guarded. Callahan's eyes flicked past her, scanning the living room where Jaden was now sitting up, his phone forgotten. "We got a call about a possible break-in. Description matches a young male, tall, black, seen around this neighborhood. You got anyone like that here?" Lauren's stomach tightened. She knew exactly where this was going. "That's my son, Jaden. He's 16. He's been home all day. No one's breaking into anything." The younger officer, whose badge read Officer Reed, stepped forward. "Mind if we talk to him? Just to clear things up." Lauren hesitated. She'd had this conversation with Jaden too many times. How to act around police. Keep your hands visible. Stay calm. Don't argue. Marcus had drilled it into him too, his voice heavy with the weight of experience. But this was their home, their sanctuary. She didn't want to let these officers inside, not when their questions already felt like accusations. "He's right there," Lauren said, pointing to Jaden, who was now standing, his lanky frame tense. "You can talk to him from here." Callahan's jaw tightened, but he nodded. "All right, son, you been out tonight? Maybe walking around the neighborhood." Jaden shook his head, his voice steady but clipped. "No, sir. I was at practice till 5, then came home. Been here since." Reed's eyes narrowed. "Practice? What kind?" "Basketball," Jaden said. "I play for Willow Creek High." The officers exchanged a glance, one Lauren recognized, a look that said they didn't quite believe him. Callahan pulled out a notebook. "We're going to need to see some ID." "Yours too, ma'am." Lauren's patience frayed. "ID for what?" "My son's not a suspect. He's in his own house." "It's just procedure," Reed said, his tone sharp. "We need to confirm who's who." Lauren crossed her arms. "You're not getting my son's ID until you tell me what this is really about. You said suspicious activity. What exactly was reported?" Callahan sighed, as if her questions were an inconvenience. "Look, ma'am, we're just doing our job. A neighbor called, so they saw someone matching your son's description looking into windows. We need to check it out." Lauren's heart pounded, but her voice stayed even. "Which neighbor? What windows? You're standing on my porch accusing my son of something with no details. That's not how this works." The air grew heavy. Reed's hand shifted closer to his holster, a subtle move that didn't escape Lauren. Jaden noticed, too, his eyes flicking to his mother. Amara, still at the table, had put down her book, her small face tight with worry. "Ma'am," Callahan said, his voice hardening, "we don't want trouble, but if you're not cooperating, we'll have to take this further." "Take it further?" Lauren's voice rose now, her calm cracking. "You're in front of my house, accusing my son of crime with no evidence. You want to take it further? Go ahead and try." The situation escalated faster than anyone expected. Reed radioed for backup. His voice clipped as he reported a non-compliant subject. Within minutes, another patrol car pulled up, its lights flashing red and blue against the darkening street. Neighbors began to peek out from behind curtains, their curiosity tinged with unease. Lauren stood her ground, her phone now in hand, recording the interaction. Jaden stayed still, his hands visible, just as Marcus had taught him. But inside, his anger simmered. He wasn't a kid anymore. He knew what this was about. He'd seen the news, heard the stories. He just never thought it would happen here, in his own home. Across the world, Marcus was in a secure briefing room, his team debriefing after a successful extraction. His phone, set to silent, buzzed with a text from Lauren. "Cops at the house. Targeting Jaden. Need you." His blood went cold. Marcus didn't hesitate. He informed his commanding officer he needed immediate leave, citing a family emergency. Within hours, he was on a military transport headed back to the States, his mind racing with worst-case scenarios. By the time Marcus landed in Virginia, the situation had spiraled. The police had escalated their investigation, claiming Jaden fit the description of a suspect in a string of local burglaries. They demanded to search the house, citing probable cause, though their evidence was flimsy, a vague 911 call with no corroborating details. Lauren had refused, knowing her rights, but the officers hadn't backed down. They'd stationed a patrol car outside the house, watching, waiting. The neighborhood, once a haven, now felt like a pressure cooker. Marcus arrived home at dawn, his duffel bag slung over his shoulder, his face a mask of controlled fury. He'd seen combat zones less tense than his own street. Lauren met him at the door, her eyes red from a sleepless night, but her resolve unbroken. "They're trying to pin something on Jaden," she whispered. "They keep coming back, asking questions, watching us." Marcus nodded, his jaw tight. "Where's Jaden?" "Upstairs. He's shaken but trying to act tough. Amara's scared." Marcus dropped his bag and went to his son's room. Jaden was sitting on his bed, staring at the wall. "Dad," he said, his voice cracking, "I didn't do anything. I swear." "I know," Marcus said, sitting beside him. "This isn't about you. It's about them. You did everything right. I'm proud of you." Jaden's eyes met his father's, searching for reassurance. "What do we do?" "We handle it," Marcus said, his voice low but firm. "Together." Over the next few days, Marcus went to work, not as a soldier, but as a father and husband protecting his family. He reached out to contacts in the military, legal experts who owed him favors from years of service. He obtained the 911 call records, which revealed the complaint was anonymous, lacking any specific details about Jaden or the alleged crime. He hired a lawyer, a sharp woman named Carla Bennett, who specialized in civil rights cases. Carla dug into the Willow Creek Police Department's history, uncovering a pattern of disproportionate stops and searches targeting black residents. Marcus also used his Delta Force training in ways the police couldn't anticipate. He installed discreet security cameras around the house, capturing every move the patrol cars made. He tracked the officers' patterns, noting their shifts and habits. He wasn't preparing for a fight. Not yet, but he was ready for anything. His training had taught him to anticipate escalation, to see 3 moves ahead, and he knew this wasn't over. The breaking point came a week later. Officer Reed, emboldened by the lack of immediate pushback, returned with a warrant to search the Hayes home. The warrant, based on the same flimsy 911 call, was questionable at best, but Reed wasn't interested in nuance. He arrived with 3 other officers, their presence a deliberate show of force. Lauren called Marcus, who was at a meeting with Carla. He sped home, his mind shifting into the operational mode that had kept him alive through countless missions. When Marcus pulled into his driveway, he saw Reed and his team at the door, Lauren standing firm, refusing entry until her lawyer arrived. Jaden and Amar were inside, watching from the window. Marcus stepped out his truck, his posture calm but radiating authority. The officers turned, sizing him up. To them, he was just another black man, maybe a little taller, a little more muscular, but nothing they couldn't handle. "You must be Mr. Hayes," Reed said, his tone dripping with condescension. "We've got a warrant." "Step aside." Marcus didn't move. "Show me the warrant," he said, his voice steady. Reed hesitated, then handed it over. Marcus scanned it, his eyes catching the vague language and lack of specificity. "This is based on an anonymous tip with no corroboration," he said. "You know that won't hold up." Reed smirked. "We'll let a judge decide that. Now move or we'll move you."